are underrepresented in education across Africa. In some countries, only 1 in 5 women finish their primary education. But there are groups working to change this and make sure more women have access to education, like our organization, Africa Relief.
The school serves to bring up ladies, girls, give them holistic education in totality to be able to fit wherever they are and be able to. So it's a pure grammar school where we do all the Ghanaian course programs in the senior high schools. But we also dwell much on visual arts, home economics, practical subjects. And so that is what we practically do here, train them, prepare them for the tertiary institution and the world of work.
Girls play important role in the development of the nation. And as a lady, if you are able to educate a lady, you educate a whole nation. So there's a need for us to educate our girls to be able to take up the roles of mothers in the society.
Africans are trying to educate more women. Africa has the lowest percentage of women in the workforce. Education is the solution and the key to economic development to empower women. Africa Relief works with governments on major projects to educate women. But there are challenges. Lack of facilities and infrastructure.
We have a very huge infrastructure deficit. Our classroom block is uncompleted, which honestly makes studying in the night a problem. Girls are being exposed to mosquitoes.
So we are appealing to you to help us to get more infrastructure so that we bring in more girls into the school than leaving them on the streets where they will get pregnant and they cannot continue their formal education.
Schools in Africa are often underfunded, which means they don't have the resources they need to provide quality education. Students who live in rural areas may not be able to get to school at all because there are no schools nearby or teachers are not willing or able to travel to these areas.
And it's challenged with a lot of facilities. And at the time that I assume teaching here in this school, we have a school population of 550. Currently, we have close to 2,000 students. And if you look at the facilities we are actually having deficit. And so we have large class sizes. In fact, we have students congested in their dormitories, and then students not having a dining hall where when it is time to go for breakfast, you see students going to pick their food and then they get back to class to eat in the classroom. So we actually lack a lot of facilities in the school. Currently, we don't have science lab, we don't have a library, and so students reading culture is actually affecting their study because we don't have library where they could go and do their private study prior to having a class. And so we need support.
Student health. Many African children do not have access to clean water or nutritious food, which can improve their ability to learn effectively and stay healthy enough to attend school.
In this school, we lack a dining hall. So far, so good. When it's time for dining, sometimes during lunchtime, students have to run to the dining hall for their food, and they take it from the dining hall to their classrooms to eat, and that's very bad.
School here, we have a clinic facility which is not in a good condition at all, and it's very small. And a day, the number of students that fall sick and go, some of them, when they fall sick and go to the clinic, it is full and they don't get place to sit or sleep for the nurse to take care of them. So that one is very bad for students. They have to come back to the classroom and sit there and have to manage to learn.
نقوم ببناء كلينيك. هذا الكلينيك مساحته 200 متر مربع. تبرع به المتبرعين من أمريكا ليخدم عدد من أهل المنطقة الكوميونيتي أولاً، ثم في هذه المدرسة اللي هو يتبني فيها عبارة عن طالبات فقط، عددها 2500 طالبة كلها في مرحلة الثانوية.
Asterisk student housing, as many families are living in poverty and struggling to survive. Some students will have no choice but to sleep outside on dirty floors instead of in captives, where they are not safe from insects, rats, or snakes. The lack of facilities and infrastructure are of critical and humane concern in Africa. In some places, students live in huts with little or no sanitary facilities, and in other cases they are expected to bring their own learning materials. Although there may be teachers available for classes, they may have to walk miles to get to the nearest school. Often, schools are overcrowded and under-resourced. Teachers are underqualified and overworked, and students do not always have access to textbooks or even pencils. They cannot afford to buy them for themselves, or even rent or borrow them. There are also food shortages in many schools across Africa. So parents cannot afford to send lunch for their children every day they are at school, so they end up skipping meals altogether.
We are also crowded in a room, and please, we need bunk beds, because when we get a bunk bed, it will reduce the congestion in the dormitory. And some sleep on the floor. Those sleeping on the floor, they always complain because the water pours on them. People step on their beds and they always complain of body pains.
The place it's not comfortable for us, and then it's not healthy because other people sleep on the floor. We don't have spaces to move comfortably around, and then the place becomes hot since we are mainly in the dormitory. We wish we could have a little space, free up space for us. And then people sleeping on the floor, we always step on their beds or on them at dawn, and then it's sometimes turning into fights. We fight because we step on people's beds.
We are 47 in a room, or else we are supposed to be 20 in a room. And then some people come from the northern sector like Tamale and Bolgawa, and Tamale is 561 kilometers to Suhum here. And then other people stay, there's one girl who comes from Chad and she's here just because of in the name of education.
In many countries across Africa, there are health problems caused by the lack of clean water and poor sanitation facilities causes diseases such as cholera to spread easily, leading to outbreaks of the disease. Women's education is important to African countries and should be promoted by NGOs, such as Africa Relief. Education can help women become more independent and get better jobs. Educating women has many benefits. It helps them be healthier, gives them access to information about family planning and contraception, improves family income through increased labor productivity, and reduces child mortality rates. Donate to Africa Relief Donate now. Be the reason for a renaissance in Africa.